What's going on, champions? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the recession. This is something that most Americans are worried about right now. And this is not just being worried. People are losing sleep over this recession. No one wants to hear the R word again. This is causing so much pain to many households. We're going to be talking about not just how you can survive this recession, but what exactly you need to be doing to protect yourself financially and thrive throughout this recession. Remember, this is not a video for you to panic, and this is not the time to panic. This is not to incite fear, but to equip you with the necessary processes in the necessary areas that you need to be taking action on to basically come out at the top. Right now, we're seeing so much publications. We're seeing this report from CNBC. Steve Hanke, a well-known economist, is saying, look, the chance of the US recession just shot up 80%. These are some of the things that we're seeing out there in the media. Then we did see something just a few days ago from the same guy who predicted the 2008 crash, saying, listen guys, prepare for a long and ugly recession. Long and ugly recession. So these are the words that most experts and economists are throwing out there, and this is getting real because it's no longer a matter of if we're going to see a recession, but it is a matter of when we are going to see the recession. And now, when it comes down to the when you know something is going to happen, you have to prepare, you have to plan so you can execute perfectly without any issues. You want to face the thing head on and not run away from it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. In fact, this guy, Dr. Rubini, did say, he was nicknamed Dr. Doom after 2008 prediction. He did say, and I quote, "Those expecting a shallow US recession should be looking at the large debt ratios of corporations and governments." Then he goes on to say in another publication here during his interview last Monday, he did go on to say, it's not going to be a short and shallow recession. It is going to be severe, long, and ugly. So we're going to be talking about this, guys. Like, this is not a matter of you know, if this is going to happen, like I said earlier, but it's a matter of when this is going to happen and how you can prepare yourself and position yourself for success during this period. So I want you to take note right now, if you are not, mental notes, physical notes, whatever, pen and paper, pull that out. So I'm going to talk about 4 key processes and 4 key areas that you can implement these very processes to just basically help yourself financially and just stay protected and avoid the headaches and the painfulness of this very period, right? So the first thing I want you to keep in mind is trim. That's the first process. You got to trim. You got to cut. That's the next process. Then you basically are going to have to set up and assess. And these are the 4 processes: trim, cut, set up, assess. And then the 4 areas where you're going to implement these processes are debt, budget, emergency, investment. I'm going to unpack this one by one just to make it make sense. And again, you can take this with a grain of salt because this is really what I'm doing from the research that I've done. And this is currently what I'm implementing in my life, these processes that I'm going to talk about in this video. So I figured, as my friends, you can, you know, gain some value from this very share. So I'm going to go through this process, the first one, and it's in no particular order. So you can follow it however you choose to. So the very first thing you want to do right now is trim your budget. So you want to cut the fat, cut the fluff, right? You want to take a look at your budget. Take a look at what you spend the most on. What are your needs and your wants? You want to go through the list. Write out your needs, what you cannot afford to live without every month. And then write out the extra things, the fluff. That's what you want to cut off during this period, right? Because that's basically you trimming the fat, right? So you want to get down to the bare bones. For instance, if you run on a $2,000 monthly budget, and out of the $2,000 monthly budget, 70% are your needs, you want to pay close attention to that. And that 70% is $1,400. You have to find a way to cut off the $600. That is your fat. So unnecessary expenses, discretionary stuff, right? If you eat out every week, maybe twice a week, you might cut that down to once a week, or even maybe once every 2 weeks, or maybe just don't eat out again. for the next 3, 4, 5 months, however long you can go. But this is very, very serious right now, because these are the things you got to trim. Now, I'm not saying cut off things that keep you sane or keep you healthy, but you got to cut off the fluff, the things that you know that you can live without. So that's the first thing. The first process, remember, trim the budget. That's the area you want to work on, the budget. Number two, you want to cut down debt. Once you're done trimming the budget, you got to look at your debt load. Take a look at your debt profile, especially your revolving debt, your bad debt, your consumer debt. You want to take a look at your credit card debt. You want to take a look at those payments that take money out of your pocket, particularly during this period of high interest rate. So the Fed just raised the rates in order to fight inflation. And what we're seeing right now is that the cost of borrowing is going to go up. So what you want to do during this period is basically just take a look and look for the debt that you can cut down. What can you pay off? What can you pay down? If possible, cut it off. Cut off your debt by paying it off if you can. But if you can't, that's very understandable, right? All you got to do is come up with a plan. You want to go the snowball method? You want to go the avalanche method? You got to find a way to cut down the debt. Do you have to pick up a second shift to do that? Do it. Do you have to pick up a second job to do that? Do it. Do you have to pick up a side gig to do that? Do it. Whatever you can do right now, do it in order to gain more income to cut down your debt, because that's very important for you to thrive and protect yourself financially during this period. Now we're going to talk about the number three, the third process. This is also very important, so don't let this go over your head. So number three is you want to set up, that's the process, you want to set up an emergency fund. That's your rainy day fund. So the area you want to work on is your emergency, your rainy day fund, the money for the unexpected things that are going to happen. You know, life is very funny, right? A wise man once said, if you haven't been in a crisis, you will be in a crisis, or you are currently in a crisis. It's one of the three states when it comes to life. The unexpected always happens when we least expect it. And that's why it's called the unexpected. But in order for you to basically create that buffer for yourself, you gotta make sure you are locked in, and you gotta make sure that your stress level is lower. So you're giving yourself the mental space to be creative and thrive during a recession. Recession is typically when we see many families go through divorce. We see the financial pain that it brings down to couples. We see the stress, emotional stress, mental stress. And unfortunately, you do have times where people lose their jobs. This is not uncommon during a recessionary period. So that's one thing that you're going to see. And in order for you to stay on top of things, in order for you to coast and to cruise and not be heavily hit with the recession or with the impacts of the recession, you gotta make sure you have a rainy day fund. Now, experts, some financial advisors recommend anywhere from 3 to 6 months of your monthly expense. Now, this is going to vary depending on if you're a one-income household, a dual-income household. It is going to depend on your financial profile. But again, there's no hard and fast rule here, but the 3 to 6 months, whatever you see fit. Now, some people even say you can stretch yourself all the way out to a year's worth of expenses. It's all up to you, but you got to work with something. If you've got $500 now left aside, you got to start stacking. Stop putting something aside. Start stacking, pushing some money aside. $50 a week, $100 a week, $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, whatever you can do, make sure you are setting something aside for the rainy day fund. This is going to give you that peace of mind that you deserve during this period. Now, last but not the least, we're going to talk about something that's very important for people who have saved money, who have invested money. This is the investment area, but we're going to talk about you assessing your investment. So the process here, or the action you got to go through, is assessing. You have to evaluate, you have to reallocate your investments, right? So you got to take a look at it. Now, during a period like this, most people are thinking, I just got to get out of the market. The S&P is down, the stock market is falling, I gotta get out. But that's not the deal. This is not a time for you to time the market. Remember, time in the market beats timing the market. So this is a time for you to go back, just take a step back and reassess your strategy, your investment strategy. Talk to your financial advisor, take a look at your portfolio. Yes, the numbers might be in the deep red, but It doesn't mean you should just end the game or you should quit and get out of the game. No, you don't want to do that, because that's when you lose. Again, this is not financial advice, right? This is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm taking a look at the things in my life, my portfolio, from retirement accounts to personal brokerage to other investment. And I'm thinking, what can I, do during this period to basically keep things running smooth? How can I plan better? How can I re-strategize my portfolio? Talk to the experts, talk to your CPA, talk to your financial advisor, talk to people who know better, right? Tap in with those people and just make sure that you are not in this just for the short term. You got to think long term with your investments. This is not a time for you to think short term. So once you've gone through this process, you're going to start understanding that, look, not only can I survive this recessionary period, but I can thrive. You indeed can protect yourself and your family and thrive during this period. So again, if you've gained some insight from these 4 processes and these 4 key areas that you got to be working on, let me know in the comment section below. And feel free to share this video with other people, because people deserve to know exactly what to do during these tough times. Remember, now more than ever, we got to come together and do what we can to help other people, because together we rise, especially during tough periods. So if you feel like you've gained some insight in this video, you enjoyed it, and you basically feel like you learned something, give this video a thumbs up. See you in the next one. Stay safe and thank you for watching.